everyone, Happy New Year. Look, yesterday I didn't want to, harsh the vibe by making a post like this because everyone's celebrating the new year, but I figure it's okay today. So yesterday was a pretty significant milestone in my life. It was officially 5 years without alcohol. So I'm just going to take a moment to reflect on what led me to that and where it took me. So if that doesn't interest you, you don't think you can relate in any way, go ahead and skip it. It won't hurt my feelings. But for those who are interested, for the longest time, I tried to convince myself that I could figure out how to drink responsibly. Every night I would go out, I'd say, oh, I'm only going to have a couple. It's going to be a good time. But every time I had that first drink, nothing else mattered. Everything took a back seat to getting more. And naturally, that led to a lot of problems. Even on nights where I was mostly in control, I'd still wake up with this crippling anxiety as if I had done something horrible. My life was just this mystery book, and I was trying to put together all the pieces of what happened or who I was or what I said. And it got really exhausting. I think I knew I had a problem from an early age, but I was just in denial or scared to stop because I thought giving up alcohol would mean losing a social life or dating life or just being considered a normal guy. But then after one too many rough nights in 2019, I kind of made this conscious commitment to myself as 2020 was coming up that I was going to do a dry year. And I didn't know if it was possible, but I figure this is a better time than any, the start of a new decade, right? So I actually stuck to it. I had my last drink on December 31st, 2019, and the first few days were tough. But after a couple days, that all kind of sorted itself out, and I was getting restful sleep for the first time in my entire life. I had forgotten how to sleep without the use of some sort of substance. And I know a lot of people who are in that boat today, and that's not a healthy way to live, obviously. So now that I was sleeping better and I was a little bit more clear-headed, I had a lot more energy to do things that I otherwise wouldn't have. I picked up the guitar, I got in shape, and by the end of 2020, my physical and mental health were better than they'd ever been. And at that point, I'd be a complete idiot to go back. So I made it through my first year and I said, all right, I think I'll do another. So for the first time in my adult life, I felt clarity. Like I didn't have to deal with this lingering anxiety, depression, and misery that always came with drinking. And that alone was worth every step. I was no longer in this cycle of drink to sleep, drink too much, wake up depressed, drink to cure the depression, feel like shit, drink to not feel like shit, and so on. I'm super grateful I made the change when I was only 25. And there are a lot of people who don't figure that out for some time or ever. This post isn't to brag or flex or anything, though I am quite proud of myself, but to remind you that a lot of people struggle with alcohol or substance abuse, even if they don't show it. The guy who may be the life of the party when you're out and about may be miserable when he gets home and he's left to his own. So if any of this hits close to home, then maybe it is time to take a honest look at your relationship with alcohol. Admitting you have a problem is the first step, and then once you surrender to that, really anything's possible. So if you are struggling or if this is in any way relatable, you can always reach out, slide into my DMs. I'm not a psychiatric or medical professional, but what I can do is share what's worked for me and give you some tips and tricks on how to face it, especially socially, which is probably for a lot of people the hardest part. So if you're still around listening to this, thanks for hearing me out, and happy 2025.